Welcome to a new episode of Off Leash Podcast with Dr. Pete. I am your co-host, Molly Van Branken, and we are so glad that you joined us for today's show. Remember, we're not here to say what you want us to say. We're here to be an advocate for your pet.
Exactly.
And
I'm only going to give you one welcome, just one
welcome. That's it.
Yep.
I'll give you 5.
Yep.
So today we are going to address the questions that our listeners sent in. Well, I guess our email recipients sent in.
Sure.
So we're going to kind of make this a routine thing where we send out an email to you guys saying, ask Dr. Pete your questions. You will always get an email response back, but we are still going to hop on the pod and talk about the answers to these questions in case other people have the same questions, which apparently they do. I've gotten some feedback that a lot of people had the same questions and they're glad that someone else asked them. So we are going to jump right into it. We're going to see how long-winded the questions are, or the answers, I suppose, and see if we want to break this into a 2-parter or 1-parter.
Let's start with the yes and no stuff, okay?
All right.
True and false.
I don't think you can give a true or a false
Multiple
answer.
choice.
You'd give
A and B, but not C or D. Yep.
That's right. Okay. The first question comes from Stephanie. She said, hello, could you create a wet food formula? What do you recommend for a topper on the kibble?
You know, I'm not a big fan of toppers. I think that people...
Do you think it's just too much?
Yeah, well, I think that sometimes, hey, listen, you're going to get a dog food that has what it should have in it and doesn't have what it shouldn't have in it. In other words, there's no copper or anything like that. So it's really counterproductive if you start taking our food and then putting a beef topper on it and not realizing that you're tripling the amount of copper your dog's eating by putting them on a topper. And the toppers aren't going to tell you how much copper is in there. So it's almost like a mystery meat because we don't know what's going to be in there. So and I don't think the toppers actually portray themselves as complete and balanced. So they're allowed to do that, which is what they're allowed to do.
Do you think there will be regulations on that one day?
I think they're going to make them label it differently. I think when this call comes out, which is already out now, that there's too much copper and stuff, and so you're going to see. So the AFCO people will be under pressure to be very transparent about what's in every food.
Right.
And then what it'll have to do is somebody will have to have a class at a local community college on how to read a dog food label because that's not in one evening class. That's about a 5-evening class because of all the stuff they do.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's all complicated. It's all difficult to understand. And people don't understand, which makes them fodder for the dog food industry. If you know what I mean? It's like, they don't know any different. Do this. They don't know any different. Do that. Are we going to go ahead and make a topper? We may make a topper at some time because I guess if you wanted a topper and you wanted something was safe, somebody who knows how to make something safe could make it for you.
We did talk about doing a freeze-dried.
Yep, we did.
And that could be a topper, potentially.
Yep, and there was a question about canned foods too, and we've explored that, and it's kind of difficult to find what they call a co-packer, somebody that does this independently. Yeah. And what they want to do is they want you to use their recipes and they put their label on it. Well, I don't want to use their recipes and put our label on it. I want to put our label on something
that we made,
that we
created,
that we know
sourced.
And it's safe. Well, we could get away with this or we could get away with that. I'm not looking about getting away with anything. I mean, let's just make something that we know is safe. So making something that's kind of safe or could be safe in certain situations. But, let's kind of, this is like somebody who's, I'm watching what I eat, so I'm having diet sodas and triple cheese pizzas. It's like, well, listen, dummy, you're not doing yourself any favor. I mean,
right.
You're eating a triple cheese pizza and you're justified by eating a diet Coke. Yeah. Well, make sure it says Diet Coke on the can or Diet Pepsi on the can, whatever. But it's
who drinks Pepsi?
Counterproductive. I can't tell the difference.
You can't tell the difference between Coke and Pepsi?
No.
I can. It's disgusting.
No.
I'm not a Pepsi person.
No. Just drink it with the lights off. It's all right.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Ridiculous. Okay, this next question.
How come people say that when I say stuff? Well, that's ridiculous.
Because you say a lot of ridiculous things.
Yes, I guess.
Okay, this next question comes from Peter. Labs can be overweight and are prone to copper problems. Are you considering weight loss versions of your diet?
We are. And we've talked about that, having a lower fat diet, less calories. But we do understand that this has a lot to do with, so when you get fat, you have to eat a lot of food. And if you eat a lot of food and there's a lot of copper in it, it probably magnifies the rate at which the copper will go up in the liver. So just think of it this way. If how would you think of it this way? The liver's about so big, okay? It's capable of doing so much stuff. So you got a 70-pound dog with 70-pound liver. The only thing is you made it into a 110-pound dog with a 70-pound liver. So to keep that weight up, you have to feed more food. And if there's more copper in the food, then your ability to excrete it is exactly the same, but you're putting more copper in, so it starts to accumulate more. So yes, the question is yes. The answer is yes, that really you would get copper storage disease faster if you had a dog that you were taking from 70 pounds to 110 pounds, because you're going to take in a lot more of that element.
Okay, this next question is actually from another Peter, not the same Peter, but another Peter. How much calcium should a large breed 50-pound adult dog consume? Same for phosphorus. Does low calcium and phosphorus indicate a better quality dog kibble?
Does low phosphorus?
Yeah. Does low calcium and low phosphorus indicate a better quality dog kibble?
So here's what I know about this. So you have to have phosphorus and calcium to build bone, okay? So you eat, and really what they have is they have regular puppy foods and they have large breed dog foods. And the large breed dog foods are designed to have your dog grow at a slower rate. Okay?
Right.
Okay, so we do know that calcium and phosphorus is an integral part in building bone. So they put the appropriate amount for the appropriate amount of kilocalories. And everything they do now is really around this milligrams per 100 kilocalories or per 100 kilocalories. So what you have is the amount of this stuff per 100 calories, the amount of this stuff per 100 calories consumed.
Right.
Because the foods could be, 325 kilocalories per cup. They could be 425 kilocalories per cup. And then they put the appropriate amount of calcium and phosphorus in there. Now, what we do when they get older, we want to limit probably the amount of phosphorus in a dog food, because that actually is what kind of creates problems with kidney failure.
Right.
So you want to be on senior foods tend to have less phosphorus in it. Calcium, not so much. We worry a little bit about, this is really kind of a complicated answer, because we're also worried about making calcium oxalate crystals if you have a lot of food that has an awful lot of ash in it, or calcium and phosphorus in it, magnesium. So what we're worried about is you're going to have the pre-products, or there's a lot of elements there that are used in making bladder stones. So we know if you get too much of that in there, you may just create a bladder stone on your own. And we don't know.
Really?
Yeah, every dog's going to be a little bit different. So I'm not sure there's a great answer to this question. You obviously need enough calcium and phosphorus in there when you're growing. If you have a dog and she's having puppies, you need to have enough calcium and phosphorus in there, especially calcium, for her to make the milk to go ahead and feed these puppies. Now, I will caution you this. You don't change the food until about 3 or 4 days before they have the puppies. Then you go ahead and put them on, what you do is you go ahead and put them on a puppy food that has a lot of calcium and phosphorus in it.
Right.
What really happens when you have puppies, there's a hormone that tells the bone, hey, let's go ahead and mobilize a little calcium out of the long bones here so we don't run out. So, and what that does is, usually you're just taking enough in orally to meet all your needs. But if all of a sudden you need a big amount of calcium or a lot of calcium, the body sends a request form. Hey, we'd like more calcium, so let's get it taken out of the bones. That's what it does. So this is kind of a hard question to answer. And if you have bladder stones, then really what you do is you be on a diet that discouraged the formation of bladder stones, especially calcium oxalates, by being on a lower ash diet, which had lower calcium, lower phosphorus in it.
Right.
So that's what you would do. Calcium oxalates are a real pain in the neck. We see a lot of them with schnauzers, certain breeds of dogs. But they're really difficult to manage. And really, once you get a food that'll manage it for you, then in good shape. And we have that question fairly commonly: will your dog food discourage the formation of bladder stones? Well, it depends on the bladder stone. There's all sorts of cysteine, calcium oxalate, struvites. There's all sorts of them.
Right.
So it's going to be a different diet for a different stone, and we understand that. Actually, there's a place up in Minnesota, University of Minnesota, they're really one of their departments up there is dedicated to urinary tract health, and preventing infections and preventing bladder stones and stuff. So, I just think if you're going to get a dog, and it's going to be a really big dog, you're going to get a bull mastiff puppy or something, you need a large breed diet, puppy food. And when that dog gets to be 15, 16 months of age, you take them off that and put them on something more traditional. I think it should be our food. I think our food's safer than most foods. In fact, I think it's probably safer than, almost all the foods at this point, because everybody's putting copper in. But the calcium phosphorus can be a big deal, but it's a complicated answer, and most veterinarians are appropriately educated to give you advice on how to do this. And so if you had a little Chihuahua puppy, do you need to be on a really high growth diet? Yeah, but they're little Chihuahua puppies, they're shot, as far as growing at 5 months. You have a little dog.
Yeah.
She's about shot, as far as growing.
She's not getting any bigger.
She's not getting any bigger.
Okay.
I vaccinated her the other day. She's a little bigger, but not a lot bigger.
She's so cute.
Yep.
I love her.
Yep.
Okay. Next question is from the same person, but it's like part 2 question. What's better, an all life stages kibble for adult dogs or adult specific diet?
Okay. Well, I would tell you this. I think if you go to a store and you buy a unisex jacket or coat or shirt, they don't fit very well.
Right.
Men aren't happy with it. Women aren't happy with it. So I think that's the way dog foods are. I have to tell you, I think that I'm not a big all stage. A lot of people are, so they can just be on one diet and they go all the way in. So really, what you're saying is good for growth and it's good for seniors. I have a hard time buying that, because what you are, you're a little short on this end and you're a little long on this end.
So what about the breed specific diets?
I think that's just between you and I.
Load of shit.
Yeah. Kind of a load of shit. That's exactly right. So we got a picture on the bag, sometimes like send a sympathy card. Your dog died. You'd like to have on the front of the card, that dog was a Doberman that died. You'd like to send them a little card. They had a Doberman on the front. So is that paper designated for a Doberman sympathy card? No, it's a.
Well, what about this? Like, I know Doberman specifically. Sorry, I have something in my throat. I know Doberman specifically need low purines. So what if they did a Doberman diet specifically low in purines?
Well, that's what they do. But they make those diets, but they don't tell you what they Royal Canin makes a Labrador diet, And guess what
is there copper in it?
No, there's no copper in the Labrador diet. They took that out, but they don't tell you why. Yeah, they don't tell you why they took it out. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, if that exists, yeah, it's expensive as the devil, and
I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that they do, and they don't tell you that they took copper out, because you know why? They don't want you to say, well, what about, why is there copper in the Dalmatian diet? Why is there copper in the Doberman diet? Why is there copper in all those diets? They took it out. They know about it, but they don't tell you why they did it. Yeah, okay, this is on an it's like
$100.
Yeah, for how much?
A 30 pound. Actually, it's a 30-pound bag.
Yeah.
Well, it's still expensive, but
it is expensive. And Labradors, they like to eat their food. But I think it's a good food. I don't have any problem with the food. I just have a problem with them not telling you why. So if you're going to make a diet for a dog, tell us explicitly why this diet is better for this dog. And you know what? They run them through different. And here's what they do: they run them through different. They're different sizes and shapes and stuff to the diets, so to make it look like it was different. It may be the exactly same food. I'm probably guessing it's not. But
it's not a bad diet. I'm reading the ingredients right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's chicken byproduct meal, brown rice, oat groats, yep, corn gluten, bruised rice, natural flavors, yep. There's wheat gluten in there. I'm not a big fan of wheat gluten. And we think we see food allergies with that. I mean, I looked through this whole thing. And
no copper, though. I was surprised by that.
Yeah, but it goes down. I mean, why are we putting, it's like rosemary extract. I'm sure there's people listening to this are going, well, rosemary extract does this or does that.
It sounds healthy.
Yeah, it sounds healthy, but it's so far down the list, you'd have to get a microscope to see it probably. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here. I'm not a big fan of these really long diets, where it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. Because
it doesn't sound like a bad diet though. I'm looking through some of their other diets, their breed-specific diets. They have a golden retriever diet.
And what's in that?
I don't know.
Let's see.
Hold on.
So it's one of those things where. So why is that diet? I think you ought to know.
It seems like the same exact diet as the Labrador one, but it does have copper.
Yep. So it's the exact same diet.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I can't say that it's the exact same diet. I'm not comparing the ingredients side by side. But.
Well, yeah. They put the rice first and the chicken byproduct second. So there's. Because
there's extra grain, because they're predisposed to DCM, I suppose. I don't know.
Well, you just need, I think with them, most of it's taurine, and I think there's probably taurine added in here, although I don't see it. Let's see. Oh, I thought I saw. Here it is. Yep, taurine. Yep, it's in there. So we know that DCM with Goldens is probably taurine related or a lack of taurine. But you got corn in there, and corn has methionine and cysteine in there, and that's a precursor for taurine. So it's good. But they don't tell you that. They don't. And
they have a German Shepherd diet.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
That ought to be interesting.
You haven't looked at any of these?
Well, yeah, I look at this stuff, but I don't, because it's all the same stuff. It's just a variation of the same thing, but they run it through a different, dye plate,
Yeah.
And so the stuff all looks different. It's like, oh, it looks different than the German Shepherd food, or this looks different than the Golden Retriever food, but they just run it through a different plate. So
they have a Rottweiler formula.
Yeah, but you got to have what's the fat on the Rottweiler diet? Rottweilers tend to be fat. What's the fat?
Well, let me look.
So, why did we do what we did? And there ought to be a brochure that goes, here's what we did. We made a Rottweiler diet. It ought to come with a little instruction manual. And with the Rottweiler diet, this is what we did. We thought that Rottweilers get this. We thought Rottweilers got that. That might help with that. Okay?
It doesn't really explain it.
No, I know. But they sell a lot of food because there's a picture of the dog you own on the bag. So it looks like it's explicitly designed for that dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if there's some disease they get that they know about, that should be in the explanation. This is why this is here. This is why that's there. Okay.
Interesting.
So I get a lot of golden retrievers with bad ears, but there's wheat in their diet. And we know that beef, milk, and wheat, those are the three most common causes of ear infections. Beef, milk, and wheat. Others, it can be other stuff, but mostly beef, milk, and wheat would cover 90 to 95% of what you had going on. And then the truth of the matter is you're feeding the right diet and then the wrong treats. We get that all the time. In fact, if I had to tell you on food allergies, 85% of the time it's all the stuff that they're feeding. And I get this all the time too. I had somebody yesterday, and she was good. She looked me in the eye. In fact, I told her, I said, you got to tell me you're not a very good tree picker. She said, I'm not a very good tree picker. So then we moved on. But we're doing our thing, and I asked her about this, that, and the other thing. And I knew she was telling me the truth because she didn't look at the wall. When, a lot of times when I ask them a question, they're uncomfortable. They'll look at my diploma.
Right.
And then they'll answer it while they're looking at my diploma. And I'm like, well, the answer's not on my diploma. And so then I know that, well, just tell me the truth. I'll help you. I can help you. Like if I was helping you with one of these, guess what? This is a Molly problem.
Not a Pete problem.
Not a Pete problem. Pete will help Molly with Molly's problem, but in the end, Molly has to solve her own problems.
Right.
Yeah. And we've done this before. I criticized him, so I saw you house-train dogs. And I'm like, well, you're not getting very far because you're not doing this. And we have an argument about it, and then you do it however the hell you want to do it. But I think that's the big thing is you have to go ahead and you just have to kind of go ahead and look at all these diets and see, because I'll go through diets like I like this, I like this, I like this. And I don't even know why this is in here. And there may be a reason, I just don't know why it is. I know a lot about dog foods, but I don't know everything about dog foods. And so sometimes they're putting something in there and I'm not sure exactly for what reason they're putting that in.
Right. So just to wrap this question up with a bow.
Yep.
All life stage diet or adult specific? You would rather go with adult specific.
Adult specific.
But not down to you don't like the individual diets. I don't mind the individual. Now that we read them, like now that I know that they're formulated individually for the dog, I don't hate that.
I know, but if they're all the same diets with just different pictures of dogs on the bag, does that turn your crank?
Well, the Labrador one did not have copper, which I kind of liked.
Yeah.
And then the German Shepherd one, I don't know.
I think if you're going to feed a diet and it's a Labrador diet, I think you ought to know why you're feeding it.
Yeah.
If you took the copper out.
It doesn't explicitly explain.
Yeah, well, here's why they don't explain it, because you go, I see you've left the copper out of the food, or you wrote in here you left the copper out of this dog food. Well, and why did you do that? Well, because the Labradors get copper storage disease,
but they're not going to explain that. I get that.
Yeah, they're going to do that. And they said, well, do other dogs get copper storage disease? Yeah, a lot of dogs get copper storage disease. It's actually a lot more common than you would imagine. Well, is that the kind of answer they want to give to anybody? Ooh, no, I don't think so. They don't want anybody to know that. See? So the all life stage thing, I mean, I'm not a big fan of it. I think it's like buying a shirt that fits men and women. I don't know that's what
That's fair. Yep. That's a fair answer. You ready for the next question?
Sure.
This is from Daphne. She said, hi, I was just at the vet for our Basset Hound's constant itching. I feel like Basset Hounds always have itching problems.
They have food allergies, I will tell you that.
All right. The vet said that she could be allergic to poultry. I told him that she eats Voyager's chicken kibble recipe, but said maybe I should switch to the salmon recipe. He said that there's probably cross-contamination if made at the same facility. I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on this.
Okay, so when we make our food, well, for one thing, we make the salmon diet in a separate facility than we make the rest of the stuff. Yeah. So they clean it all out before they do it, and I think this goes all the way back to and I will tell you this. I think that what happens is some of the dog food companies that sell prescription diets, that's their argument that, well, we're making it better than everybody else is making it. Mm-hmm. Well, you don't know whether you're making it better than everybody else making it unless you're there watching. Right. So yes, is there cross-contamination? What they do is they get samples of food and then check for other DNA in it. And there's a lot of stuff where people weren't, they were just, some stuff in the pipeline and they ran that. And then, how that works. Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of whatever's not supposed to be in there. And it really kind of depends on how really allergic you are to stuff. Right. But yeah, is there cross-contamination? We go to great extent to make sure everything's clean before we run it again. So I think the salmon diet's fine. And they may want to try to sell something that they manufacture. But what kind of dog was this?
This was a Basset Hound.
Yeah, well, I can tell you this much. It's not contaminated with copper. We don't contaminate it with copper. So everything that everybody makes has a lot of copper in it. Some of it has some copper, some of it has quite a bit of copper, some of it has an insane amount of copper. And we already know this, and we can tell you who the diets are that are horrible, but we can't because we don't want to stand in front of a judge and jury someday saying that we impaled the integrity of somebody's company because they had 380 parts per million of copper in their dog food. Yeah.
You ready for the next question?
Yeah.
This next question's from Ian. Our dog Murphy is a beagle/corgi mix and loves your fish-based dog food. Lately, he has been chewing his feet and tail tip. Should we switch him to a different flavor for a better skin nutrition?
Okay, so if he's chewing his feet, I don't know about the tail tip. I really don't know about that. But the feet, when they chew their feet, that's generally environmental. That's correct. So, and I've talked about this before. There's 3 things you can be allergic to: food, fleas, and environmental. Okay, they're like Larry, Moe, and Curly. They all make each other worse. Okay, So sometimes if you have a food allergy, nothing's going on. You're trying to have an ear infection. You can't have the ear infection. All of a sudden, trees pollinate. Now you're licking your feet, and maybe you even have the ears pop up. I had a cat the other day. This is a totally different subject, but I looked at this cat and it had fleas on top of fleas on top of fleas. It really was in tough shape. But I had these 2 infected ears and I thought, well, they got ear mites in there. So I took a swab out of there, no ear mites. I thought, well, maybe it wasn't a good swab, so I did it again. Nope, no ear mites. So what happened is there's so many cytokines being released from the flea allergy, it makes the ears blow up. And cats generally don't have ear infections because usually there's not enough ceruminous glands in a cat's ear to make an ear infection.
Right.
That's not very, very well known, but that's a fact. So when you get enough cytokines, the ear may become inflamed. Cytokines are inflammatory proteins. So and this is weird. I'm almost sure that's what's going on, but I think the flea allergy was causing this because the minute you touch this cat's skin, the cat just licked his face and everything.
Right.
Yeah. In the old days, have you ever seen a cat that's itchy and they lick their mouth? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in the old days when we didn't have good flea control, we'd have what they they had what they call kind of a rodent ulcer, which means their lips have been kind of licked away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they had so many fleas that they'd sit there and lick all day long and eat into their lip.
Is it because they're like sandpaper tongue?
Yeah. And they're really itchy. So the minute the itchy stuff goes away, the rodent ulcer goes away.
Dang.
Yeah. Yeah. It was kind of cool. But yeah. Can I go back to the Bassett answer?
Yeah.
Read that again so people remember.
All right. This next question is from Daphne. Hi. I was at the vet for our Basset Hound's constant itching. The vet said that she could be allergic to poultry. I told him that she eats Voyager's chicken kibble recipe and said maybe that I should switch to the salmon recipe. He said that there's probably cross-contamination if made at the same facility. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on this.
Okay, we don't make our hydrolyzed diets at the same facility. We make our regular diet. So that ends that question right there. Now, really, the question is the food ahead of our hydrolyzed diet? There's food made ahead of our hydrolyzed diet. They don't put a brand new line in for us, but they clean everything they have out, and then it's clean when we start. So it's clean when we start, and when we get done, they clean it again before anybody else's food goes on again. And if it's our, and by the way, we're working on a pork hydrolyzed diet, and if let's say we did that, we made the fish hydrolyzed diet, and then we made the pork hydrolyzed diet, we clean it out in between times because we understand that that's important. We can't have mixed proteins in there.
Right.
So we're not cross-contaminating. And I would tell you that we don't drive over to that facility and watch every time, but we did the first couple of times. We went in, watched it being run, and then monitored it. That's correct.
Okay. This next question is from Ian. Our dog Murphy is a Beagle Corgi mix, and he loves your fish-based dog food. Lately, he has been chewing his feet and his tail tip. Should we switch flavors to a better skin nutrition? So this could be like a good recommendation for the hydrolyzed. Just to see. Yeah. I know that feet are normally environmental.
Yeah, and I'd say feet are environmental, and I don't think that he really needs to switch. Although if he wants to, and that's really what you do. I mean, if you're looking for, you're going to do 30 days of this food, or 35 days, or 60 days, whatever you're going to do, and then try another food for 60 days and see what you like the best. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're going to do that, remember that the 60 days is going to encompass different kinds of pollens and those sorts of things at the same time. So it's kind of confusing. So if you're going to run these tests, I'd run them in the dead of winter, because there's nothing pollinating. If in fact you live in Key West, I guess there is no dead of winter, so to speak. And if you lived in Alabama, there is no dead of winter.
It's always somewhat
where
warm.
we live up north, there's a dead of winter. So if you're going to run these trials and then try to see how this diet works versus this diet, but you can't do it while you're having different allergens, tree, grass, weeds, all that sort of stuff at the same time. It's extremely complicated. And I've often told clients, we already talked about this once, is that, if this is your dog, it's a Molly problem. So, and I'll show you how to play the game. But go play the game, and then you kind of figure it out yourself. I think that's the long answer. And listen, so I'd love to know how old this dog is too. If it's 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, if it's 9 years old, and this is the first time it's ever happened, that's a little different deal. But dogs generally get their food allergies when they're fairly young. Lots of times before 15 months of age. All the environmental stuff happens between about 15 months and 4 years of age.
Right. And
it'll get a little worse. So first time I got poison ivy, it wasn't bad. Next time I got it,
it was bad.
Really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
All right. Well, that's a good answer. You ready for the next one?
Sure.
This is from Kevin. Our Poppy loves the food. I recently purchased some ABC treats for her, which she would do anything for. After reading the ingredients and how good they smell, my question is for any of the two-legged staff at Voyager, have any of you sampled the treats? It would be funny to gross my wife out if I knew that they were safe to snack on. Haha. Thank you all for your level of quality and care. So this is actually kind of funny because Ben and Celia and I tried the treats last week.
And?
The week before. They kind of just taste like a non-sugary, like Nature Valley bar.
Okay. Well, I tell you, the dogs love them.
Have you tried them?
No, I've not tried those. I've eaten little pieces of the dog food.
Well, lucky for you, I brought in a treat for you to try today.
Okay.
They're very limited ingredients. Apples, bananas, carrots. Pete's going to try one live. What are your thoughts?
Could you hear me chewing them?
Yeah, I hear you chewing them. I'm not trying it again. It was tasted like just a bland Nature Valley bar.
But I'm going to tell you what, for dogs, the smell, and we refer to them sometimes as black tar heroin treats because dogs really
love them.
Yeah,
I don't know why they love them so much. They just taste like, Ben said that it tasted like an expired graham cracker.
Okay, well, let me just say this. It tastes better than a Triscuit, okay?
Okay.
So is that the baseline for what a good treat is, which it isn't for me. No, if I had a choice between a wheat thin or these, I'd eat the wheat thin. But these have taste. And I think that's what dogs really like is something that has a taste in it that's different than other things that have a taste in them. And sometimes with dogs, they like texture of stuff. But yeah, they like the taste of this.
I'm going to look up the ingredients just so I can read them aloud. I should have brought the bag in. But they're very, very limited ingredients.
Mm-hmm. And that's the way it should be. Real simple.
Brown rice, apples, banana, carrot, oatmeal, pea flour, peanut butter, dried molasses, canola, flaxseed, natural flavor, tocopherols, and cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
That's where it gets the smell.
Did you say molasses?
Molasses.
Yeah.
You can smell the molasses.
Yep.
They smell amazing, but they taste literally like a bland Nature Valley bar.
Not to the dogs.
Not to the dogs, though.
No. And they probably have different taste bud arrangements in there, maybe.
That's fair.
Are you aware that their taste buds are in the front of your tongue?
No.
For
us or for dogs?
For both. So lots of times if you got a pill that doesn't taste good, the biggest thing is not to let that. I thought
you tasted different spots at different parts of the tongue.
Well, that's probably true, but when you get to the back of the tongue, there's not much there.
Hold on.
What's this, fact-checking, Dr. Pete?
Yeah, I'm fact-checking you because I learned about this in school. So.
Yep. So what's it say in the back? What's the purple one?
Bitter.
Oh, bitter.
Bitter's all the way in the back. Sour are on each side. Salty is on the front side. And sweet is on the tip of the tongue.
Yep. Well, I've looked in a lot of dogs' mouths, but I've never seen a labeled one or the other.
Yeah.
Yep. So, so they like what they like. And everybody's dog likes different things. But I will tell you a little bit. I mean, we get a little bit of, sometimes people call and say, well, my dog didn't really eat it well the first couple of times, but after that really got to where it liked it. And I think it's sort of like scotch. Sometimes you need to develop a palate for certain things.
Yeah. Are you going to finish your treat?
I ate enough of it.
I'm going to give it to the dogs. CG Stetson. Come on, buddies. We have the two dogs sleeping in the studio with us today. Yeah,
but their appetite isn't sleeping. Your mother shows those treats to the dogs, and they'll go upstairs with Rip. We have a yellow lab, and he goes lickety-split up the stairs and
gets in his crate.
Well, hits the back of the crate and then turns around and waits for it when he
waits for the treat.
Yeah,
he's crazy.
He's in anticipation. Yes,
that's right. Well, that was your last question for today. We will keep sending out the emails to answer more questions and probably a few training questions with our trainer, Lindsay Berg, who we just did some video work with. So look out for those.
And you know what? I like this format. You ask questions, I give answers.
That's right.
Yeah. And when you place your questions, bracket them by, I have a 3-year-old, blah, 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 or a 4-year-old. And
as much information as possible.
And especially if it's going to be allergies. Where do I live? If you live at the Bonneville Salt Flats, I don't think I'm going to get very many questions from you because there's not a lot of allergens out there. But But you get the idea is if I can figure out where you're at and what time of year it is, I can give you maybe a better answer.
Right.
More accurate.
Well, we sure appreciate you guys listening along with us today. We hope we've been able to share some good information that will help you love your animals as much as they love you. Don't forget, always treat the treatable, prevent the preventable, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See ya.